You're actually going to shove Maya out the way?
Oh, where do you want me to sit?
On the floor.
Off. Maya, off. Come on. Off. Mrs. Off. Thank you. How do you want me?
Anyway, I don't care. Stay over your side of the sofa.
That's fine.
Come on then.
Go on. Up.
Ups.
You go.
Start off with a bit of a catch up.
What do you mean you?
Yeah.
It's been with you all day. What do we need to catch up for?
It's going to be a long video. So, today we're going to be filming a bit of a Q&A. I've dragged Jack into shot.
Reluctantly doing a Q&A.
It's taken some persuasion, to say the least. So you've got the dog on your lap, that's okay. You've got a coffee.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been a bit of a hectic week, hasn't it, with Reggie? So our cat was hit by a car on Wednesday morning and he's been in and out of surgery. It's just been rather traumatic. So he's actually next door at the moment while hopefully his leg heals itself. He's got a big external fixator on it. If you want to see a picture, message me, but I'm not going to share it publicly because I think a lot of people really would not want to see that. It's not very pleasant. No. So yeah, we're just hoping that his leg heals off the back of having that external fixator, because the fracture went slightly into his ankle, but there was a tiny bit of bone which they've managed to salvage, hence the external fixator. If not, we're going to have to amputate it, but we're not having to amputate it, the surgeon will amputate it. Yes. Do you have to be that? Yes, okay. I do. Yes, we're not going to amputate his leg, but we will have to make the decision to amputate his leg. So we're just praying it doesn't come to that. We want to give him the chance, but everything has been taking so long. I'm spending a lot of time sat on the floor in the living room by the crate at the moment, and then the other cat starts screaming. Then Maya cries next door because she can't get in. It's all just quite a bit of a stressful house at the moment. But we've made it. We've made it to the Q&A and it's okay. It's okay. Yes. And Reggie is actually doing really well, all things considering. He is very purry and very happy, which, quite frankly, I don't think I'd be in his situation. So he is handling it like a true champ. But anyway, so the first question that I got was, how many steps do I do now in prep versus off season? So of course with Maya, I tend to walk a lot anyway. Usually in off season, well, it can vary quite dramatically. Usually I average somewhere between 9 to 11,000. In prep at the moment, of course, I'm only a couple of weeks in, and I have no doubt this is going to change. I'm currently doing 12,000, and cardio 4 times a week at 30 minutes. But I think that is all going to be dramatically increased, probably over the next sort of month or so. So I'll keep you updated, but it's at 12,000 at the moment. Not too bad. I really enjoy walking. And with Maya, I mean, you can't say no. So I find it very therapeutic for the most part. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with that. Anyway, question for us. How did you and Jack meet? Do you want to go into that one?
Tinder.
To put it simply. There's a lot more to it.
There's not really, is there?
There is a lot more to it.
We knew people in common, but that's not how we met.
No, but we were in the same room at one point.
Yeah. We were.
I saw you at one point, and then, yeah, it was Tinder, and I recognised him. And I thought you were playing the choosy chat up line.
Where do I know you from?
Yeah.
You look familiar.
And he kept pushing on with this chat up line, and he was like, "No, seriously, I do. We have met before." And I was like, "No."
Never even met. We just met in passing, didn't we? Really, more than anything else. I don't think we ever spoke.
No, but you kept pushing it, and then you brought up Dan, and I was like,
"Shout out Dan McNabb."
Yeah, I was like, "Shit."
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks.
We actually do know each other. Well, we've met each other. We didn't know each other. But yeah, then the rest is history. I dragged him on a walk.
Yeah, quite literally. Yeah, I was quite surprised by the pace.
So was I. I was peak off season at the time, I think. I was really breathless.
I was dieting and I was like...
Then we both ended up hypo.
Yeah, yeah, we did both have a hypo.
And neither said anything.
No.
And like
Profusely sweating, sat down.
yeah, it was like 2.5 hours after marching like around this massive estate called Ashton Court for those who don't live in Bristol. Yeah, we sat down for a bit, didn't we? And then it was getting closer and closer to my meal time, then past my meal time. And then I was like, I really need to eat. Like literally shaking at that point. I was shaking, dizzy, had to drive home. And I was like, oh God, this is never going to end well. And it was a couple of days later that I found out that you were diabetic. So yeah, you always had something on you.
Lucasade or something, yeah.
Oh God. Right, another one for you. What do you love about me?
It's going to be a very long episode, isn't it? Gosh. Kind of like a bit of a catch-22, I guess. It's also the most annoying thing about you, I guess. It's how stubborn you are.
I'll take that. I will take that.
In all facets of life.
Yeah.
I think that was probably it, I would say. It has many benefits to it.
Yeah. I definitely can be my worst enemy at some points. And your enemy.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, top 3 supplements. So we can both do this. What would you say your top 3 supplements?
EAAs, creatine, and protein.
Basic as hell.
Yeah.
That is really basic. I'll go creatine. Then I'll probably go... I'm only going to do these 2 because I don't think...
Give me a top 3 though. If you give me a top 5, it might be slightly different, but...
Yeah, but for me...
I mean, like,
top 5 then.
You kind of want to throw in like... Well, the other 2 that I would do, because they're the other 2 that I do, which is Support Max from Strom and just any sort of decent fish oil.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Oil or something,
I do
just for joints. So, I mean, for you it's slightly different, isn't it? But for bodybuilding purposes, I would say that's top 5.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'd definitely go creatine. Then probably Support Max Neuro. Just because it helps me sleep, it settles me, it helps me function. And if you have POTS, look at Support Max Neuro by Strom. Honestly, it's all based around cortisol management and promoting the parasympathetic state, which of course us POTSies could do with. And then I would go for Big Z by Beast Farm, which you can also get from Strom. Just because that has magnesium in, which I don't sleep without magnesium. It is an absolute game changer. And my sleep, I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
That would probably be an understatement with my sleep.
There's a slightly strong wind in Manchester. It'll wake you up, I imagine.
So, yeah, Big Z, and it has Levagen in, which I'd take separately if I wasn't.
Normally, yeah.
And Afron and stuff. So it's just like it's got a couple of different ingredients in. Then, yeah, so that'd be my top 3. Top 5. I've got all my stomach ones, but I think they're so like dependent to me that I'm not going to share them on here because they're so personal to me. And I would not survive without them because they keep my digestion functioning.
You'd need a top 40 to list all these, probably.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, even with me, like, there's a couple that I've sort of thought about just then. I just think, well, actually, he would have to, like a vitamin D or a K2 or something.
He's like a really good multivit.
Yeah, but you couldn't put that in the top 5, could you? Because there's not enough stuff in them to really warrant it being in the top 5. If the question was posed like, if you could only have these for life, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm doing this in regards to like, if I could only afford it, like right now, that's what I'd kind of go with.
I'll probably go for Support Max Joint because, in fairness, I have been slacking on taking that this week because they ran out of the capsules, and I'd much rather take capsules than drink a liquid. So I've been having the liquid, and it is neon from the turmeric, and it stains everything.
Yes, it does, and you leave it on the side constantly. It's fine.
I don't. Bit harsh, but that's fine. So yeah, I'd probably say support max joint because I haven't been taking it and my knee started hurting again.
Had nothing to do with the fact you fell over in front of the crate yesterday.
When was that?
You were trying to change Reggie. Well, that was cramp, wasn't that, to be fair?
No, that was
cramp.
I had the
You're trying to change Reggie's collar.
like worst timing ever for like the worst cramp. It was awful.
Was
like
funny.
Absolutely like screamed.
That was really bad timing.
It was really bad timing. Like, oh,
Reggie was thinking, why the hell are you screaming so much? Like, you've got a bit of cramp and he's just been run over. You're moaning about your cramp.
So the two of us, I think, like, we've had me over, like, you between my legs, like, trying to get into the crate.
Very different video.
But, like, trying to get Reggie and pin him down for certain meds and stuff in the corner of the room. With like the two of us who are not the smallest people trying to like sort him out.
It's not easy, is it?
But yeah, I would say for my 5th supplement as well, or just before we completely move on, I'd say fish oils probably because they help my skin as well.
Yeah.
Skin and brain health. Okay.
You need brain health. You do.
Only because I live with you. You enjoying the dog?
I am, very much so. It's calming.
Good. So, knowing when to push and when to pull back. So one of my clients actually asked this in the group chat. Now, there is no like one answer to this. My stomach's rumbling.
Wonderful. Do you want me to do that?
Christ. So yeah, there's no one answer to this, and it is so person dependent. What I will say is, especially in those early phases of having a chronic illness, and especially like I know this client is still very, very early days, until you've built up to a decent level, trying to like constantly pulling back every time you feel tired is going to massively slow down your progress. Like massively slow down your progress, because in those early phases, more often than not, you're going to feel tired because you haven't built up those foundations yet. You haven't built up the ability to actually have a bit more energy. So more days are going to be harder than not. And if you pulled back every time you had a bad day, there'd be so few good days to actually do the things you need to do to get better and to improve where you're at. So taking it slowly is important, and pacing yourself and building it up in a sustainable way, like not going from 0 to 100. But it is important to make sure that you are pushing yourself a little bit in those early phases, and that includes on some of your bad days. Now, I think it would be very, very rare for me to say that like someone should have complete bed rest unless they were absolutely floored with a virus. Now, the more you can be moving around, even if it's just around your house, anything like that, even if it's just 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 steps, the more you can kind of get up to that 3,000 to 4,000 step mark consistently, the more you're going to be able to then move forwards, because staying around that sort of 1,000 mark, that is, you're still in very, very fragile states. The sooner you can kind of build up your tolerance and start to make, and it will get easier. I think that's what's really important to remember as well, is it will get easier. It's not going to feel good for a while because, of course, you are doing more than what you have done for whether that's been months or even years in some people's cases. Of course, you're going to be tired, but as long as it's supported by the right nutrition and building up in that sustainable way, it's really important, because just being really sedentary is going to lead to further deconditioning, and it's just going to make things a whole lot worse. Like, for example, every time I've had surgery, and you can vouch for this, I just will not lie down, because it's just, even when I had the breast augmentation, like the next day I got up, I was moving. I remember I walked to the end of the road with my mum, and I was like, okay, like I walked a bit further, and I was like, no, that was a little bit too far. But just getting up and getting moving, and I did that a couple of times a day just because it just really helped my POT symptoms. Even now, I find it shocking at how quickly I can decondition if I've had a virus, if I haven't been as active, if I haven't done my cardio. I do find it shocking. So especially in those early phases, trying to get up to that 3,000 to 4,000 step mark, that and holding it there, even on your bad days, it can be really, really important and supported by the right nutrition and just looking at everything else as a picture. Now, I also think that mindset can play a massive role here. And I think a lot of people, 3,000 to 4,000 steps can seem like a lot when you're not feeling well, but how you structure that across the day is kind of, and where you walk and what you're doing. Because if you're just doing 3,000 to 4,000 steps around your house, that can be soul destroying. It can seem like such a chore. But if there's any way that you can get out with a friend or a family member, that can make a massive difference. So just trying to build it up to that phase, that stage kind of is what I'd say, because it is so person dependent as to when to push and when to pull back. But in a lot of cases, getting to that stage and staying there consistently will make it then a lot easier to progress forwards or not. I kind of answered that question, but it's hard to pinpoint because it is so situation dependent as well. Because if you have got an illness or a virus, again, it's slightly different story. But if it is solely just because of your health, the sooner you can kind of get to that phase, but building up slowly, it will make a massive difference. I've got my tea.
Yes, made you tea.
Right. Oh, God.
Go on.
Oh, let's see this one. You can answer this while I have a sip of my tea.
All right, you just got to ask the question first.
I have to deal with the sarcasm all day, every day. Most embarrassing health-related story.
What of me?
Well, we can do it both of us. I'm pretty sure you'd know which one my one would be.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually got one, really.
You all of yours are just when you were drunk, and they're not
Pretty
even
much,
health-related.
yeah.
They're just embarrassing, stupid
just
stories.
embarrassing, stupid stories, yeah.
You shit yourself at the dinner table the other day.
Okay, I'm surprised that one came out on thingy, but that wasn't even relatable, no. It's not even medically related at all. That's just...
Are you sure?
That's just me getting old, I guess.
Remind us of how old you are.
I'm 26. Going on 86, apparently. Yeah, that was quite something. Yeah, I can't blame diabetes on that one, unfortunately. I think what happened there was, what did we eat the day? Was it we had a really heavy cheat meal and it had a lot of cheese in. And I don't eat a lot of cheese, like, at all. And as soon as I do, yeah, my stomach doesn't like it. I'm definitely not lactose intolerant. I just don't eat it very often. Fucking hell, my hair everywhere. Yeah, so it was just quite something. I think I trusted a fart when I shouldn't have. And yes, I fully followed through. That was good.
So
Fortunately, Rosie trumps me on this occasion. So I'm never embarrassed about anything to do with bowel movements with you.
I don't think anyone could be.
That was quite funny. Do you want me to tell the story or do you want to tell the story?
I think you telling the story is better.
So we went to, this is the time we went to the States when we went, what was the clinic called?
So we went to the Carolina Functional Neurology Clinic.
That was
because
Raleigh.
I'd had a number of clients go there and I just wanted to go and investigate and kind of just see how I found it. It was like, it's one of those things I think for me that was like no stone unturned with my health, and it was like functional neurology was not, it's not big in the UK.
It's an area you hadn't explored.
And it's an area that I hadn't explored, so I wanted to go and learn more about it. It was not the best trip.
No, it was
we
horrendous.
Were so ill.
We got ill on the flight over there. So we landed and we must have had like...
You were ill before we went.
I think I was. I think it was 2 days before we left. I caught a cold.
It was not a cold.
And then we got ill. And then, yeah, over the flight, you got ill, didn't you, when we landed? Excuse me. And so we had the first week where obviously all these tests, not hard tests, but when you're ill...
The last thing you want to be doing is having to focus and lying in a room. And I'm not the sort of person...
coughing, sneezing. We were hot, feverish. It was like COVID, like times 10, wasn't it? It was the worst thing ever.
Like in a different country.
It was.
All day
Am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
It was fucking shit.
All day in medical appointments. And it was just not okay. Like,
One good, wasn't it?
Neither of us really should have got out of bed. Like, that was one of the situations.
No, we needed to actually.
It was awful.
Yeah, we needed actual bed rest, but yeah, so we anyway. Because we were there Monday to Friday. The idea was when we booked the trip, we'd go. So we have Monday to Friday at the health clinic because obviously we had 2 weeks there, and then on the weekend we were going to do a couple of trips. So the first weekend we were going to go to Charleston.
Yeah.
We were going to drive there.
And that was amazing.
And that was good. It was good. And then the final weekend before we came home, we flew to New York, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we flew home. So, but the first weekend came round, and obviously we were both horrendously ill. And
we were getting a little bit better by that point.
No, we weren't. We were ill in Charleston.
No, we were better than we had been.
Oh yeah, but that's not exactly difficult. I don't know if that was just a situation
of
that was
like,
still like
not
a bad
being in the
cold when we were away.
Yeah.
So I remember driving feeling horrendous, and yeah, so we got to Charleston, and obviously it's a lovely place. We stayed in this really nice 5-star hotel, wasn't it? It was gorgeous. How much it was per night? It was something ridiculous, wasn't it? And anyway, lovely room. And we went out for dinner, didn't we, that night and stuff, I think.
It was New York that this all happened.
Was it New York?
Yeah, it was New York that's it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I'll fast forward to New York then, because basically it's the same story. We went out for dinner in New York, and we came back, went to bed. And the
whole point was we'd treat ourselves to a really nice hotel.
Yes.
Having stayed in these like small Airbnbs and stuff while we were over there.
It was still nice, but it was nice to, after the stress of being away, going through the treatment and stuff, wanted to...
We'd have the treats
for
the weekend.
So we'd want to sort of make it somewhat of a holiday and not just a massive stress.
Yeah. So we stayed in a nice 5-star hotel in New York.
And New York, yeah. And so we went to bed, and at some point during the night, I think it might have been like 3 a.m. or something, I was on one side of the bed, Rosie on the other. So I rolled over to give Rosie a nice cuddle in the night. And I obviously just pulled the duvet back, and as I rolled over, I had this whiff of like, I thought Rosie just let like a massive fart. And I went, it like took me by, so I went, fuck me. And I shut the covers, I turned back over and went to sleep, because I thought she just farted in her sleep. Anyway, so I went back to sleep. When I woke up the next day, Rosie was already, she got out of bed, went to the loo, and I was just sat in bed on my phone in the morning. She shouted from the bathroom, Jack, I think I've shit myself. And I was like, what? And then I had this sort of like vague memory in my head of that time in the night. And I pulled back the covers, there was just shit everywhere. And I was like, yes, you shut the bed, Rosie. Fucking awful, wasn't it?
It was so embarrassing.
But it was just the idea of like, if I actually thought, oh, it's only a fart, and then cuddled into you, I'd have been covered in shit.
Very much.
I would have been peppered. It was proper bad, wasn't it? It was really bad.
I can't.
It's 5-star hotel. These poor mates, and the worst bit was the fact that I said it to Rose in the morning. I was like, we were walking down, we were going to go out for breakfast, and I said to Rose, it was the first night we were staying there as well, so we had to go back for the second. So the poor maids had to go back and clean it. And I said to Rose, the worst thing is, they're going to take one look at us as the couple, and they're going to go, oh, bless her, like her husband or whatever came back, got really drunk, probably shat himself. Little do they know, it's poor innocent Rosie. Definitely got the blame for that one.
Oh God, I'm crying.
They definitely did not suspect you to be the...
Yeah, but bear in mind as well, none of, like, I can't have solid shits. So I'd been completely asleep. I had not woken up at all.
It's the worst smell known to man that night.
Like a liquid explosion. It was awful.
Oh, I'm just so glad I was clean. God. Yeah, quite something. I thought you were going to get a picture up of it then. I was like...
I do not have a picture of that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Fuck's sake.